First of all, I'm going to tell you guys that the presentation is in English. Hopefully, it's not a problem for any of you. I'm going to speak slowly. So here, like, where's Brian today? You will learn code review, and you will learn a bit, practice your English with me. Yes. So reviews, very often we rely on them in making decisions in our life. Actually, on a daily basis, all of us, we use review to make a lot of decisions. It has been 2 weeks. I'm thinking about buying a new phone, the iPhone, actually, not the last one. It's too expensive for me. I'm looking at the previous version of the iPhone, and I start searching, looking at some customer reviews, and I saw that it got low review. Then I dig deeply, why it got low review. It got 1 star, and the guy saying actually that the package was delivered without the iPhone inside it. It turns out that the delivery man stole the iPhone. All right. Another kind of review, when you want to watch a movie, you want to go to the cinema, then you look at the reviews to see how much people enjoyed that movie or not. I looked at that review, and there is a guy said, I put only 1 star, and here is the deal. All the duration of the movie, my eyes were hurting. Few days later, he discovered that he has the pink eyes, inflammation in his eyes. More and more, and I think all of us use this review to make a decision about a restaurant. When you want to have dinner or lunch, you look what restaurant I want to pick, and you look at the review at the restaurant. I wanted to go to a pizzeria, and I saw that there is a low review, and the person said that he ordered a pizza, full pizza, but he was delivered half a pizza. And then the owner of the restaurant replied, by the way, you ordered a calzone, so it's served in a folded way. All these reviews, as we can see, they are useless. They are irrelevant to the product or the service we ask for. So writing reviews is something really difficult to do. And similar in computer science, when you want to review code. Let's have a look at this piece of code. So it's written in Python, regardless of the programming language. The reviewer said, seriously, what's that? And why you are using the join function? This code is not going to work. Probably he's right, and I agree he is right. But if you can notice with me what he did, first of all, he wrote it all his review in a caps lock, uppercase, and this is very aggressive. Second of all, he is saying, like, what is this? What are you referring to? Me as an author, I don't understand what he wants, actually. And I guess all of you agree with me, right? And he's saying that the join function is not going to work. Can you explain more? So this kind of review is harsh, disrespectful, and the author, the reviewer actually doesn't provide any guidance or actionable feedback to the author to let him know what I'm expecting from him, what's wrong with that code. Another example, and I think here there is a lot of debate about using while or for loop. Regardless that, the reviewer said, like, why you don't use, instead of the while for, you can use the for loop, the while loop instead of the while. You can use the for, and you can put it in one line, and it will look so nice. He said, like, nicer. You can put it in one line. Yes, great. So he didn't provide any guidance to say what's the difference between using the two loops. And of course, there are differences, and that varies the impact of using while or for, depends on the programming language. He didn't say anything. So he just stated his preferences, his personal opinion, his taste. So this kind of review is really complete waste of time for the author. Hi, everyone. My name is Maha. I am an engineering manager at Elastic. I'm leading a team named the Releasing Engineering at Elastic. We provide framework guidance to the other teams at Elastic to help them provide their releasable artifacts. We conduct a lot of code reviews at Elastic and at my team as well. And I worked before that as a DevOps engineer. I also had a PhD in optimizing performance of multi-tier distributed system deployed in a private cloud. And today, I'm going to talk to you about how to review someone else's code while not being a jerk. And how can we conduct code review properly and give good and useful review. I'm going to start by the first question, which is, has any of you ever been bullied by a jerk reviewer? Can you raise your hand? Oh, okay. I will ask the other question in the other side. Any of you acted or give bad review as we have seen in the previous? Okay, equivalent. Okay, all right. I hope that today you will change your mind and you will give more like guidance and respectful or useful reviews. So all of us, I'm sure, I am one of you, when you receive kind of reviews, and I did receive kind of those harsh reviews, things come to mind first. Okay, what do you want now? Why you don't do it yourself? Okay, what now? Okay, finally, I'm gonna stop coding and I'm quitting computer science. I'm a bit probably exaggerating, but sometimes it might reach that level. You will get super annoyed. So to avoid all this drama, let's see how can we really write good and useful reviews. Before starting giving reviews and opinion, giving feedback to people, we need to answer 3 questions. Why, what, and how. The first question is why. Why we want to do code review. Most developers believe that as long as I'm writing my code and testing it, and I'm sure it works fine, why I need really to ask people to review it and give me feedback? Well, actually, the answer is not only to get the feedback and you are sure 100% the code does what it's supposed to do. There are many reasons behind code review. You want to make sure that the code meets the standards and the reviewer can help you in that. You need to make sure that there are no bugs or headings, use cases that are not covered by your code. So people will help you giving this feedback. Also, by doing code review, we learn from each other. So we are sharing knowledge. We participate in putting designs for some algorithm and so on. So code reviews help us to learn from each other. This is really, really very important point. The second question is what? What we are looking for when we do code review. And really, this is the core question of the code review, what we are looking for. A story. In my previous job, when I joined my company, my manager asked me, hey, Maha, can you have a look at this code? I asked him, what exactly I'm supposed to do? He said, make sure it's fine, whatever that means. So what I did personally, based on my experience, I start looking at the variable names, at the method size. There are unit tests provided. The new code passes all the tests, doesn't break any existing test. There is documentation, and so on. So basically, I use my personal experience and preferences to give review on that. However, what I would say that as a team, we should agree before starting doing code review on some elements that we need to look at prior doing a code review. And I came up with what I call it code review checklist. So based on my experience, there are few points that we should look at them. I would insist on the fact that this checklist, there is no one-fits-all checklist, meaning that you can customize the checklist based on your team, based on the project. So that depends. This checklist can get longer. You can customize it and adapt it based on your project and depends on your team. But what I would like to insist on a few of them, you need to check if there is a new unit test that tests the new code, and the new code also doesn't break the other existing unit test. You need to make sure that all the dependencies are declared. You need to make sure that the syntax and the format of the code aligns with the syntax and the format of the whole project. And here I would like to insist that this kind of task can be done automatically. So me as a reviewer, I won't waste my time at looking at the variable names. It's following the naming convention in that programming language or the other, and so on. So there are tools, for example, the linter and pylint for Python, similarly for the other programming languages. Also, you need to make sure that the new code doesn't introduce any vulnerabilities or any smells in the added code. And also, there are tools can help me in that. For example, SonarQube. It does code analytics, and it reports to you all the code smells, all the vulnerabilities in the new code, the code coverage, and so on. The message from here, I want you to understand that there are points we need to check, but however, there are other points that can be done by automation. Okay, there are tools can do that for us. The last question is how. So we understood the first two questions, then how can we conduct code review properly? So as a reviewer, you should start by looking at the big picture of the new code, trying to understand what's the motivation of the author from that code and what he's trying to do. If there are any clarity, ambiguity in that code, you ask a question. For sure, that's allowed. And then you need to keep the review short and response in a timely fashion way. Last but not least, and this is a very important rule, as a reviewer, don't feel obliged that you have to say negative things. You have to find negative things and point it out. It's okay to say it's all good. Or I think all of you saw that GitHub, LGTM looks good to me. So it's fine to say that, and I recommend saying that. Let's look at more details. How can we do that? So as a reviewer, always make your review about the code, not about the person. Don't criticize the person. Be respectful. Don't use any harsh language. There is a study has been conducted by Microsoft in 2015. It shows that very negative comments were considered useful only 57% of the time, while more neutral comments were considered useful around 80% of the time. So be respectful. Don't always, of course, assume competence, and be clear, constructive, and give reasoning about your decision or your comment, and give guidance. An example, a reviewer saying, why are you using this approach? You are adding unnecessary complexity. However, this review can be rewritten and should be written differently by saying this concurrency model appears to be adding complexity to the system without any visible performance benefit. Can you elaborate, for example? The difference between those reviews, the first one, you are focusing on the person and the author of the code. You are using that, you did that, you added this complexity. While the second one, you are criticizing the code itself. And this is the way it's supposed to be written. Another example, a reviewer didn't understand what's the goal from the submitted code, and he's saying, I don't understand this, and full stop. This is not enough. Instead, he should say, if this is an optimization, can you please add comments? So you are asking for more clarification. Your goal to provide actionable feedback, but sometimes it's not clear to you, so ask for more comments and explanation. I'm coming back to the last, to the example we saw at the beginning. So we saw that it was harsh and wasn't really saying what exactly bothering him in that code. So this can be rewritten differently, which is, okay, instead of using those variable name where they are meaningless, you should use meaningful naming of the variables. You should follow the convention, the naming convention in Python. The join function is not gonna work because if you have a list where you have the items, strings, and integer, this function is not gonna work. So you should always convert any item, any element in this list to a string. I reached the end of my presentation. As takeaway, the goal, remember, always we want to increase the quality of our code, and to do that, we need to give constructive and clear reviews. Remember, golden rule, respectful reviews will lead to useful reviews. Here is the list of references I have used to prepare this quickie, and thank you very much for being here.